Now where are we now? Land. Goods returned. Okay, so August, debtor who owed 23 grand gave a motor van worth 25 in lieu of the debt. So what happened to the missing 2 grand? A debtor who owed us 23 grand gave a motor van in lieu of, as our value of 25 grand instead of the debt. What happens to the 2 grand? The debtor is, he used to owe 23 grand, that's gone. He gave us something worth, motor vehicle worth 25 grand to cancel the debt. It's not depreciation, it's actually the opposite. If you think about it, Patrick owes me a tenner and Patrick gives me 11 euro. He gave me more than he owed me. So it's like, well, it's like it's an income. It's extra money I got that I didn't expect to get, like a discount. It's the opposite of a discount given, it's a discount received. So he put that in as profit and loss. Okay, so this one, we wanted to deal in particular with the bank statement. So received a bank statement on the 1st of the 10th showing direct debit for insurance for 1800 for the year end. So this is something that does cause problems. And another one for credit transfer for rent received. So I'll just deal with these as 2 separate ones. So insurance, so a direct debit for insurance 1800 for the year ended 31st of 3rd, 2012. So that means 9 months is going to be prepaid for next year. And 3 months is prepaid next year because it's 31st of 3rd. And 9 months is going to be used up this year. So if I go to my insurance prepaid, at the end of the question, I'm going to have 3/12 of whatever that check is. Because we're going to have prepaid 3 months of next year. So equals, I'm going to have 3/12 multiplied by whatever the check is. And the check is 1800. So 450 is going to have to be prepaid. At the beginning, we had a prepaid of 400. So that means that we're going to increase our prepaid by 50. Is that okay? Another way of looking at that is, remember, we have a bank, we have a minus of 1800 going in there. That 1800, 9 months of that is going to be put into our profit and loss. So our profit and loss is going to have now 9 months, so 1800 multiplied by 9/12. Okay, is going to be put in there as a minus. We okay? Can we see that? Yep. Okay. Now, so that is how much I've used up in insurance only for those 9 months of the year. I also used up the 400 that was prepaid at the beginning of the year. So we have 1350 and we have the 400 that was there at the beginning of the year. Okay? Now, this 50 that we have here, okay, that 50 represents, another way of doing the 50 is, it's going to be minus 400 to cancel this opening figure, and then a plus 450 to deal with the closing figure. And that 450, remember, is 3/12 of the check of 1800. Nathan, is that okay? You happy enough? Okay. Move on to the next one then. A credit transfer of 560 representing 7 months rent received. Okay, so I'm going to put in we got 560 and that's for 7 months. Just quickly checking. Credit transfer 560 representing 7 months rent received. Now I don't know how much of that rent received is into next year, but I'm going to presume that if we received a bank statement and we got rent on the 1st of the 10th, that means we would, that rent was for the month of the 10th, 11th and 12th, and 4 months into next year. So that means that our rent received, rent prepaid, sorry, is going to be 4/7, because it's for 7 months rent. So it's going to be 4/7 multiplied by whatever the check is for, so it's 560. We okay with that? And I got that because we received it on the 1st of the 10th. So that means when we received the money, that was 3 months of this year and 4 months of next year. So that's the 4 months. Okay. The rent income, this is the money that we've earned in rent, okay, is going to be 3/7 multiplied by the 560. Yep. And then in my rent prepaid, I'm going to have a minus of the opening 600 and a plus of the closing figure, the 320. So I'll end up with minus 280 in the rent prepaid. I'll go through that again. I received 560, and that 560 is for 7 months' rent. So I'm asking myself, is all 7 months, has it been used up this year or has it not been used up this year? Well, I'm assuming, it doesn't give me any dates, but I'm assuming because I received the bank statement on the 1st of the 10th, I'm assuming that that includes 3 months' rent for this year and 4 months into next year. So this 320 here is 4/7, because it's for 7 months, so it's 4/7 of the check of 560. And the other 3/7 is going to be used up this year with profit and loss. Now this profit and loss figure here, because we notice that still here is a mistake, there's still something missing because our assets and liabilities aren't adding up to be the same. Has anyone spotted what I've left out so far? Okay, our expense, okay, our income, the money that we've earned from rent this year is 240, which is 3/7 of the check of 560, plus another number. Plus what? Plus what was prepaid at the beginning of the year, which was 600. So we've actually received 840 in rent. Jamie, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go through it again. So the income, the money that we've earned, is 3/7 of the check of 560, plus whatever was prepaid at the beginning of this year. We didn't get that money this year, got the money last year, but my tenant has used up those months, 600 worth of rent. They've used it up. Plus they've given us a check for another 3 months, so that's included in that. Yep. Okay, depreciation. So depreciation is something that has caused people problems, so I need to go through that kind of slowly enough. Depreciation buildings, 2% of cost per annum. Motor vehicles at 20% of cost. Okay, so the buildings, 2% of cost per annum. We know at the beginning from January that there was a revaluation happened here. So when we did our revaluation in January, we valued land at 70 grand. And we got new buildings in February, and it's buildings, not land and buildings. We got buildings in February. So therefore, when we work out our closing figure at the end, so the closing is going to be adding up everything all the way along the line. So we have 750 grand in land and buildings, and that 750 grand includes 70 grand, which is only for land. So how much are the buildings worth? The land and buildings is worth 750. The land alone is worth 70. So how much is the buildings worth? 680. Okay. So my depreciation is going to be 680 multiplied by, what's the percentage? Depreciation, 2% of cost. So 0.02. And that 13 is going to be put in here with profit and loss. Okay? Then we'll depreciate the next one. Motor vehicles at 20% of cost. Motor vehicles cost 45 plus another 25 of motor vehicles. So now we have motor vehicles that are worth 70. So the depreciation is going to be 70 grand times 0.2, 20%. And we'll add that number on to, that's a minus actually. So we'll add that number in there. And then we'll do the next one. Well, that's it, just only two. Okay with that? So we get a percentage of whatever it is, and we add it to our provision for depreciation account, and the total figure then is put into our profit and loss as a minus. Finally, the provision for bad debts is to be adjusted to 5% of debtors. So our provision for bad debts at the moment is £2,000, and our debtors, let's just, if we add up all of our debtors, stop there, that's wrong. So when I do my maths, 40 minus 23 is 17, so my debtors owe me 17 grand. I want to get a new provision for bad debts, which is going to be 17 grand times 0.05. At the moment, my provision for bad debts is minus 2 grand. I want to make it into minus 850, so that means I'll need to increase my provision for bad debts, or have a plus in my provision for bad debts of 1150, which is the difference between the two of them. Yep? You okay with that? Now, if I want to have a bad debt or increase our provision for bad debts, that's a new expense. So that expense will be in profit and loss. If I want to make my provision for bad debts smaller, I do a minus in the expense, so I'll end up doing that as a plus in profit and loss. 1150 goes in there. So no, it's wrong place. Profit and loss.